Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dialed In podcast.
Hello, I'm still here again.
Oh, George, you're here too.
Yeah. We do it in the office in my house. So
Really? Oh, I just come around the back gate normally.
yeah, I did wonder how you got in here.
Should we start?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this episode of the Dialed In podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/howibecame. Patreon is an amazing platform which allows you, the audience, to directly help and support us, the creators, to continue to develop and create content you love. To find out more about the perks we have available when you become a Patreon, please visit patreon.com/howibecame. That's patreon.com/howibecame.
Yeah. So welcome back, everyone. Episode 3 of the podcast now. Let's start off where we normally start. What have you been watching for the past week, Pat?
Well, I haven't been at work for the last few days. I've had a week off.
What a luxury.
In theory means I should have been watching more YouTube, but I've been watching less YouTube because I've been doing things outside of the house.
What?
I know.
You've been going outside.
Ridiculous, yeah. It's this weird thing where like.
But mate, we're the age of the internet. We're meant to
the
stay
air
inside.
touches your skin when you go outside. It's really strange. Yeah.
Nah, that's not for me.
But anyway, from the stuff I have been watching, the first thing actually isn't a single creator, but rather a kind of not phenomenon, but a launch. I guess it's a technology launch.
Yeah.
The new Samsung Note 8 has come out in the last few days.
Okay.
And that is a fantastic phone, of which I was an owner of the previous model, which wasn't a fantastic phone.
No, that was the one that blew up. Yeah, I was going to say.
I found that out at a racetrack in Brussels.
What do you mean?
Well, I was in Belgium at the time.
Did yours blow up?
Mine didn't blow up, but I was told by my carrier, I was told by my company that that's got my phone contract with, that I couldn't use my phone anymore, and I was in a different country.
What do you mean you couldn't use it anymore? They were going to disable it or something?
Yeah, they were going to disable all the phones because they were and I was getting on a flight that evening of the day that I found out, and I was this is fantastic.
I didn't, you know what? I knew obviously about all of the drama stuff. I didn't know that they actually disabled the phones. What, they disabled them remotely?
Not straight away. I think they disabled them after a few weeks. But yeah, if you still have a Note 7 in your house somewhere, it won't work. They did a software update where it bricked the phones. But the time though, I was told to turn it off, and I couldn't use it. But anyway, that's by the by.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
The Note 8 has come out, which is the new phone. It's the replacement to the Note 7.
Wait, has it come out or is it just revealed?
I think pre-orders start today, the day we're recording this on the 24th, and by the time this podcast comes out, I think they'll be live. So I think the 14th or 15th of September is the live date for them. So I've been watching a bunch of YouTubers, MKBHD, Unbox Therapy, Austin Evans, a bunch of people that have obviously either been at the launch or have found out about the news, and making videos around the phone. So from my perspective, every now and again, I don't watch too many kind of tech videos. I maybe watch a few Linus Tech Tips. I watched your MKBHDs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But kind of overall, I don't really watch every single Linus Tech Tips video. I'm not watching it, every phone review. It's only phones that really kind of maybe appeal to me. So when I was looking for the Note 7, I was watching videos. Now the Note 8's come out, I'm looking at that as well. I already have a phone. Obviously, I had to replace the Note 7 with a phone, but the videos have been really good. It seems like tech YouTubers these days are making really great content.
They're on top of their game.
Yeah, they're making better content than most kind of traditional journalists around these launch events. They're able to get the videos up quicker, and there's kind of no bureaucracy inside of their own. Yeah, it's their own network, so they get to say whatever they want.
Yeah, I think in traditional
time.
Media like websites and magazine stuff, it's very much a competition. But on YouTube, it just seems to be like everyone knows that everyone's going to review the new phone.
Everybody's friends with everyone.
So just sort of collaborates with each other, which I think is the right way to do it, because it's better to work together with someone than to have although competition is always good, but they're still
healthy competition.
They're still competing, and the thing about YouTube is the audience is big enough to fit everyone into it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean an MKBHD video and then a Linus Tech Tips video, I wouldn't really ever compare them.
No, they're very
MKBHD is never building computers. Instead, he's kind of highlighting the kind of glossy side of tech, and then Linus Tech Tips is more about the reviews on hardcore gear, the stuff we may use for gaming.
And I guess some people would probably say the same about magazines, like they would never compare Enemy and Kerrang, but to most people, they're just a music magazine, and that's as far as it goes, isn't it? So,
yeah, I mean, that would be my perspective. The only time I ever buy magazines is about the time where I get on a flight.
Yeah, I never buy magazines either.
Lounge.
Never, ever.
No.
Never,
so
ever.
What have you been watching, though? Let's go for one of the things you've been watching this past week.
Okay, so obviously, me and you play a lot of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which we've mentioned in literally the past 2 podcasts in a row. So yeah, it's Gamescom at the moment. So there's been a lot of developers announcing new stuff about games and stuff.
What is Gamescom, George?
It's a convention. I think it's a convention for the public, but they also do a developer section as well.
Where is Gamescom?
It's Germany, I think.
Ooh.
But I'm not certain. Don't quote me on that, please. But no, all the developers are there from all the different companies. So throughout the week, there's been lots of videos and announcements of different games, and they do all press videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're actually doing a tournament as well for PUBG. So I've been watching that. It's really good. What they're doing is they have the actual live stream, which is the official casted one with the person doing the spectating. But each of the people playing is also allowed to stream to their own channel.
Okay, so you get all the different angles, all the different perspectives.
Yeah, at the same time. So on YouTube, like I know Vicstar and stuff, they've been streaming their games on YouTube. And Vicstar's playing, by the way.
Wait, in the invitationals? In the tournament?
Yeah.
I thought it was like, because I was going to ask you, we were discussing this earlier over dinner before we started this, and I was asking about, or I was at least thinking to ask you about, like, how did you get, like, how can we get involved in the invitational? Like, how did you, how were you chosen?
Isn't it? So I think an invitational means you have to get invited.
So you get picked. So they pick, do you think they picked YouTubers because they're good? I think what they did was,
they picked certain teams. I think teams had to apply. But also, I think from the actual Gamescom itself, there was like a bracket where teams could win a spot in the invitational.
Okay, so you're telling me we should have gone to Gamescom?
I don't know if we're professional level, really.
I don't know. Top 10.
Every game, yeah.
Every day, bro.
Every day, bro. But no, been watching quite a bit of that. People have been streaming that. And
what's the highest concurrent viewership you've seen on a Twitch stream of one of those? Or a YouTube
yesterday
stream?
On Twitch, the whole of PUBG had 400,000 people.
That's crazy. Concurrent, live at the same time.
But that's the whole of the game, the whole community, not just one stream. I think the stream got to 180k or something, which is pretty
huge,
mad.
though.
Yeah,
that's massive.
It's really good. Well, it's like the second most played game on Steam now. So
they sold 8 million copies, right?
Yeah, crazy.
8 million copies.
You actually think about that, 8 million copies and only 170k viewers on the stream. It's not amazing correlation, but it still is really, really good, obviously.
Yeah. It's a small percentage, but it's the hardcore audience, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
It's the kind of people that are gonna be on Twitch all the time.
Yeah, man. And staying on the sort of the computer topics and that, and the gaming stuff. The Yogscast.
I've heard of the Yogscast. I used to watch their Minecraft series, but that was back when there was maybe 2 of them.
Yeah,
but I believe they're kind of got this expanded universe
now. They're a brand now, basically, and they've got a new office and everything, and so they've got like a whole green screen room, which is amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah. And they were doing a live stream in there. Terps was doing a live stream building a new computer, and it was the funniest thing actually was, so they had this $1,000 CPU, right? Just the CPU alone was $1,000.
Okay. And the CPU is the kind of processing unit that makes the computer run. Yeah,
the main part. And it was the Threadripper version, right? So it's like literally one of the most intense, like high performance. It had 16 cores.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a normal computer maybe has 2 or 4, and this has 16.
Yeah, 16, which is just crazy. And on stream, he actually tightened it too much and broke it.
So you need to tighten the processor into the motherboard.
Yeah. He was like screwing it into the motherboard, and then it like they actually read out the instructions, and it says there's going to be one click, and it clicks on stream. All the stream hears it. He keeps turning. And then he breaks $1,000 CPU, which I thought was literally the most cringeworthy.
What did they do at that point? Like, what happened in the rest of the stream?
I think they had to stop, and they did another one the next day. They actually did. They carried on doing other bits, but left the CPU out, and then got another one the next day or something.
That's an expensive mistake.
But it was sponsored.
Okay, wow.
But imagine that.
Still an expensive mistake.
Imagine that. Someone gives you something for free, and you break it before you even put it into the computer.
$1,000 processor.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, isn't it?
Nuts. But the other thing I've been watching to kind of roll back to maybe more directly YouTube stuff.
That was streamed on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe Twitch. So that was on YouTube.
Maybe both. I know they do stream on Twitch.
What was the live viewership on that?
I don't know, but I watched the VOD on YouTube. That's why I sort of
That's
sorry.
Really cool. But yeah, so another influencer or channel I've been watching, one we've discussed before, Funhouse, part of the Rooster TV
big
network.
Big fan of Funhouse.
They have a show called Demo Disc, and that is probably one of my favorite shows. If I ever see that show, it normally comes out around kind of lunchtime UK. I imagine like 8 a.m. or something in America. But it's a show based around literally playing like demo discs that you used to get as a
thing, eh?
You know, when you bought a magazine, you get like they'd entice you with a disc full of maybe 5 to 6 demos or maybe more for Xbox, for PC. So they started off with PC demos back from the 2000s, and that became a massive problem because how do you run them on a Windows 10 or a Windows 7 PC or something?
Yeah, nightmare.
So they've moved over to Xbox 360 now. So it's playing all of the games from our childhood.
Yeah.
A bunch of old Need for Speeds, a bunch of old Call of Duties and games like that. But It's hilarious though, because they also play all the rubbish games that we've forgotten about, that we forgot that were even made.
My favourite bit is how they snap them at the end.
Oh yeah. So now each time they've finished a disc and they've played all of the different things on it, they find a creative way to snap the disc in half.
It, yeah. I remember it's like I would go to the corner shop or whatever, and I'd see the gaming PC. Not PC mag, like PlayStation magazine, because I used to be
or Xbox official Xbox magazine.
And you would only get it because of I would only look.
Oh yeah, the only reason I wanted the magazine was for the disc,
because you wanted to know what demos you were going to get to play, or sometimes they had like trailers on there, or
But this was before like Xbox Live. You could easily just download demos, like kind of whenever you like. Like I think, did your first Xbox not come with a hard drive?
I got PS3 first and then went to 360.
Ooh, see, I did the other way around.
Nah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I started on Xbox 360.
Sorry, I don't
then
know
I
why
came
I just
across the PlayStation.
decided that then. Because no, I got a PlayStation in year 6, which is when I was PlayStation 3 when I was in year 6, so year 7,
11,
like 11, 12. Yeah, and then did that for a while, and then sort of got really into the competitive COD, as we've talked about past. I won't mention it, bring it up again, but Xbox was the place to be for that at the time. It's not anymore, but it was at the time. So that's when I got a 360 Elite Black.
Nice. Was
boy.
it 250 gigabyte hard drive?
Whoa,
huge!
Oh my god!
Literally, iPhones come with that amount of storage these days.
Yeah, and it's like flash storage as well, so it's like much faster. Yeah, that's a crazy thought.
Yeah,
but I would never have thought that at the time.
The Xbox 360s came out with just kind of like memory stick style things, like a PlayStation 2 had. Yeah. Back when they first came out, there was no way to like download stuff onto a hard drive when they first came out. It was the arcade version.
The arcade one.
Yeah.
And people would buy the arcade ones and then like mod them to make them play free games and stuff.
To add hard drives in, and then they went Red Ring as well.
Red Ring of Death. That was a big thing. And then the PS3 had the yellow light of death.
Oh, they both had heating issues because you were trying to pump massive hardware into a very small box.
Do you want to, whilst we're on the topic of PlayStation, before we switch off to something else, I found out today that back when the PS2 was like first around, like, when was the PS2 a thing?
I feel like
early 2000s.
No, it's got to be early 2000s, I reckon. Yeah, because I had a PlayStation. I remember having a PlayStation 1. I know when the PlayStation 2 came out. Well, I know when the silver one came out because I got the silver one for Christmas. Or my birthday. My birthday's in November, so it's Christmas or my birthday.
Yeah.
And I got the fat, spelled with a PH, the fat silver PlayStation 2. And that was 2003 because I got FIFA 2003 with that. And it had Edgar Davids on the front cover.
Oi, Edgar Davids.
Yes, with those weird glasses.
I've got a weird story about him. I've got a weird story about him too. But before we do that, I was just going to mention that the PS2 came out in 2000. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was music producers actually used to make samples from you could make music using a PS2.
How?
There was like a software where you could like take samples from the games and edit them together in the PS2. And
that's crazy.
One of my teachers today told me it was apparently like a really powerful way to be making music at the time because
there was that weird menu if you never put in a disc, wasn't there?
Yeah,
and you could
you could do all kinds
game
of stuff.
Saves and like delete stuff like off the disc that was attached to it. But it's only like 32 megabytes of memory back then though.
Yeah, 32 RAM.
Yeah. Did you have a black one, a silver one, a slim one?
I had a black. I had this OG one.
No. The silver one was the way to go for sure.
Nah, mate.
Did you have the fact you remember the logo on the front of it on the disc tray could turn? So if you had the console lying flat, the logo would be like the right way
I don't
up.
think I ever clocked that.
And if you put it like horizontal, you could also like switch the logo, like turn it 90 degrees.
I don't think I clocked that until too late. Yeah, I know.
What were you doing in your life? I just sat there messing with my
I was
logos.
actually playing on it, not like just opening the disc tray.
What was the first game you ever played on a PlayStation 2?
Oh, on the PlayStation 2 was...
What game did you get with it, or like what was your first?
I had Spider-Man.
Okay.
I had Medal of Honor Frontline. Bear in mind, I was 12.
Yeah.
I got it on my 12th birthday.
Christ.
I'm pretty sure. And I just put in Medal of Honor Frontlines and stormed the beaches of D-Day at like 7:30 in the morning before school. So yeah, and I remember, also legendary game Star Wars Battlefront, obviously.
Yeah. The OG one.
But what about you? First PS2 game?
I got with the console FIFA 2003, like I said, Edgar Davids, Ronaldinho on the front cover, living the dream. I used to transfer all my favourite players to Arsenal so I could just play with them all the time.
Yeah, that was a stupid mechanic, wasn't it? Yeah.
So after doing that, what would have been the next game? Probably Gran Turismo. I wasn't really into fighting games. I think maybe my dad used to play, funny enough, on the PlayStation 2, a series called Conflict.
I've not heard of that.
There was Conflict Desert Storm,
I have
Vietnam,
heard of that. Desert Storm, yeah.
Desert Storm 2, and then there was a few others as well.
I have
and my dad used to play those. Like, I never played them. And funnily enough, he can't play any like modern video games. It was only that series. It was like that one series that he got into, and everything else makes him kind of a bit sick, like, you know, kind of travel sick.
Motion sick, really?
Because there's too many frames per second. Like, that used to be like 30.
Oh, really?
And everything would like auto lock. So it was relatively like kind of point and shoot, like an arcade game.
He needs to get a 144 hertz monitor, mate. That will sort him out. But also, just quickly, whilst you're talking about FIFA 2003 and Edgar Davids, whilst we're still on the gaming stuff, he actually won a court case recently.
Really?
Against Riot Games.
What's Edgar Davids? How old is he now?
He's in his fifth. I don't know, but I used to work at a Barnet Football Club, and he used to play there.
Okay, yeah. I remember he became manager/player, right?
Yeah, and he used to play there for a bit. Let me have a quick look whilst but he won a court case against Riot Games, who make League of Legends.
Okay.
Because they made a skin. I'll show you it here. They made a skin, and it was like I literally looked the same as him. Look, that was the skin there.
Okay, so for people that are listening to this in audio form, which is the only way you can listen to this,
it
looks exactly like him. Like Edgar Davids was a guy known for having kind of braided hair, and he always used to wear these like tinted glasses.
Yeah, it's because he had like bad vision or something.
Yeah, he had something wrong with his vision where I guess the color recalibrated it or something. I don't think he was necessarily blind. It was more that he, you know, in terms of like having bad vision, I think it was just something to do with this. Anyway, he had this tint on his glasses, and yeah, they totally look identical. But what has League of Legends got to do with football? Like,
so when it was the World Cup 2014, they made skins for like a football team worth of characters.
Like 11 characters
in soccer skins. Yeah, so this one was a character Lucy, and if you know League of Legends, I haven't played it for a while, but he used to be an AD carry, which is like hard to explain, really.
Yeah, no, I know what an AD carry is.
Yeah, he was that.
Absolutely,
and
not at all. Don't know what an AD carry is.
No, you don't. But yeah, and then I think sort of people started to tell him that there was a massive similarity. And look, even the glasses. Look at the glasses. Like they're
identical. I mean, Edgar Davids is the only footballer I've ever seen that kind of wore these like they're like. Imagine a mix between swimming goggles and sunglasses, and that's what he was wearing. I guess because you don't want to wear normal sunglasses because they're going to get knocked off your face. But yeah, like nobody else, I've never seen anybody else play football wearing them. So super interesting.
Yeah, and I think he's going to get. I don't think he got a great deal from it. Something like he's just going to get some royalties from the skin or something. Like it wasn't like a big payout or anything, but it was just like he'll get some royalties from it. But still, you know.
It's an interesting story, though. It's two worlds colliding that I didn't think would ever connect.
Collide, yeah.
And we got all of that from talking about PlayStation 2.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Oh, man.
What a segue.
What a world. So, but what is the main topic of this episode, then? So what are we really here to talk about?
Well, we're going to talk about something that literally came out of the blue this morning, I think it was for me. Or that must have been.
It was last night, but I think most people watched it, especially in the UK.
This morning.
Watched it this morning.
So which is August 24th, which is it's quite a big deal actually as well. I think.
I think this could set the precedent moving forward for any other related cases, as it were. But do you want to briefly explain kind of what the deal is?
Yeah. So for these two YouTubers that we talk about a lot, Ethan and Ela Klein, who are the H3H3 brand. And,
H3H3 Productions is their main YouTube channel. They have a podcast. They have a few other things too. Yeah,
so those two together, they had got into a court case over copyright infringement and fair use of using another YouTuber's content. Because what they do is they make satirical videos based on other YouTubers' content. It's not a reaction video. They do it very cleverly.
Yeah, and, they write like comedy skits in between the clips that they watch. They're reacting, but then creating kind of their own narrative sort of, inside of it. Yeah.
So it's not related to the video. Well, it is related to the video, but it's also entirely unique.
Yeah.
And the guy that was subject...
Transformative, as they would say in legal speak.
You have been reading a lot of...
I have, yeah.
I've
read up about
cases.
this.
Yeah. No, so the guy who they parodied in this video actually ended up suing them for fair use, misrepresentation of content and things like that. I don't know the actual full specifics. I'm sure you can get those up in a SecPat or something. But they won the case today, which is amazing for them especially. I can't even imagine the stress and the hassle of something like that. But yeah, the court said that, you know what, everything was all good and all clear. We'll get into more detail in a bit, but I'm just giving a little brief overview. The court said it's all good, it's all clear, you've won, you've used that fairly, you've not sort of ripped them off or just copied the video and it's just the same. They did everything uniquely, and as Ethan said, it was a matter of law.
Yes, they were super elated in their video, and it's been up for 16 hours now. and it's got 3.7 million views.
I'm happy. You know what? There's not a lot of YouTubers that you really feel like the emotion behind and like the actual like community. Well, there is quite a few, but these guys, right? As soon as you watch a video, you sort of feel that sense of community, don't you, amongst their fans and everything. And it's just like it's the Fupa Lords. it's so good.
So the guy is Matt Hoss, who is the person that was the persecutor? Can't think of the legal word. Plaintiff. There we go. Look, George has been reading up too. So we've got the plaintiff, and then we've got H3H3, which are the defendants. And Matt Hoss was alleging that there was copyright infringement. He put a DMCA claim on the initial video created by H3H3, and from there, the H3H3 then obviously were trying to kind of oppose that, and they sent a counter strike saying, actually, no, we don't believe this is a DMCA worthy strike. We believe this is within fair use. Problem is, after that though, Matt Hoss just said, well, let's have a lawsuit about it, and he sued them for because of H3H3 made another video saying that they were being sued. They made a video kind of highlighting the fact that they were being sued, and who it was by. He then added on to that kind of defamatory claims, wasn't it? Defamation.
That's it, defamation.
On top of the copyright, and then of course he was trying to gain money out of it, so like loss of revenue, because he said the videos were so alike that people wouldn't go and watch the main video because they watched the H3H3 one.
Yeah, I know.
Like George said, the way that the video is formatted is it's maybe 30 seconds. We watched it before this podcast again, just to kind of reassure ourselves now that it's become
it's back online.
Yeah, it's back online.
They re-uploaded it onto their channel because as almost like a middle finger up to Matt Hoss.
Yeah, because they clearly own the copyright to that piece of tangible content, and they're able to monetize it and do what they like with it. So
it'd be funny if you went for a DMCA again and tried to take it down.
Oh no, that would be dreadful. So yeah, they uploaded the video again. So me and George just went and watched it. George, I don't think you'd actually ever seen the full video before, right?
I wasn't part of the Cliners before it.
Yeah. It happened a while ago. It was like 2 years now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But anyway, the video is maybe 30 seconds of the Matt Hoss video, maybe 20 seconds or so, until he says something silly or does something silly, and then they comment about it for maybe 1 or 2 minutes. They kind of discuss it.
I think
they poke fun at it. They make jest of it.
It's honestly even less. It's about 5 or 10 seconds at a time.
Yeah, it's like enough to get like a one-liner out.
Apart from the parkour scene.
Yeah. So the video is very cringy, and hopefully, Matt Hoss doesn't come after us as well. But it was very cringy. I think that's the best way to explain it.
So cringy. If you haven't seen it, you have to watch it.
Yeah.
It's so cringy.
Well worth it. I'd recommend watching the H3H3 version as well. It's called The Big, the Bold, and the Beautiful, in brackets, re-upload.
And the Matt Hoss video originally is called The Parkour Girl or something like that.
Yeah, it's called Parkour Girl.
Parkour
it's
Girl,
this kind of short about a girl that he tries to get very creepily, and then they do parkour to chase each other, and then Matt Hoss turns into him. It's just very weird.
It's so weird.
Honestly, it's so creepy.
We can't do it justice until you watch it. And understandably, if you make a video like that, someone's going to take the mick out of it, right? And I want to just start on a basic, on a really basic level. Yeah, nothing to do with rights or use.
We'll start on the ground floor.
Yeah, and then we'll get in the lift and we'll go up.
Yeah. I'm already out, lads.
On just Patrick's making PUBG jokes. If someone takes if you make a piece of content, right, you have to expect people to take the mick out of it and parody it, and to not like it. Agreed?
Yeah, we weren't walking around school when we were making Call of Duty videos DMCAing people, were we?
No. You have to expect that that's going to happen. Not everyone's going to like your videos all the time.
No. I mean, films don't get to go DMCA film reviewers and critics, do they?
100%.
Rotten Tomatoes still exists.
And so, even on just a basic level, I think it's so childish of him to go after H3H. Even at the end of the video, they say, obviously, we have a respect for Matt Hoss. He puts a lot of effort into the videos. And
yeah, it's a well-produced video.
Yeah, and they even say that he just sounds like an angry,
petulant childishness, isn't it? Really,
and that's what I think. That's what frustrates me more than the court case, is that it's something that should never have even happened in the first place, because they are just having fun.
Yeah, and
of course, it's a bit upsetting that maybe someone's taking the mick out of you. But I wonder if he even spoke to them and said, hey, I'm not.
I think one of the things that why it came to a court case was because there was a single email threatening legal action if they didn't kind of remove the video. And this is something that didn't come to light until the court case, because H3H3 didn't really say anything when they made their initial video saying we're being sued. But the court did find that email really didn't have any weight in the case, and that really there is no benefits to them kind of revealing that information. I was watching a really interesting kind of in-depth video on this, which is why I know a little bit about the case. And it's a guy called Leonard French. So he has a channel called Lawful Matters with Leonard French. He has been following this case ever since the start. This case has been going on for a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. And it's been super interesting to see that the way that it's progressing. The last update that Leonard did, because Leonard is a copyright attorney, so he very much understands this is the world that he kind of works in. And he's able to go through the whole document, the filed documents that are publicly available about these lawsuits, and kind of detail out and kind of go down and put into plain English all of these weird phrases and terminology.
Because it can be really sort of complicated. And,
so the last update was probably 4 or 5 months ago, maybe even longer, and it was for a summary judgment. And what I understand a summary judgment to be is kind of where all the information, all of the facts, all of the kind of the data is there. Everything that each side has asked for in terms of evidence is available for both parties. And then both parties say, look, this is what we believe to be the truth. This is what we believe to be the answer. And obviously Matt Hoss argues his side, and Matt Hoss says about the fact that he thinks it's been defamatory and that he's lost revenue, and this is how he can prove it. And obviously H3H3 had to give across their revenue from YouTube to show that to Matt Hoss to kind of prove whether or not that it could have had any bearing on his income. And then Ethan and Ela did the exact same thing, and that's what they won here. So they won the lawsuit overall, but what they had is their summary judgment granted. And what that means is that they have been granted the correct opinion, as it were. Like the judge who's gone over this has agreed with what they said in their summary judgment. I think Matt Hoss was actually going for a partial summary judgment, which I won't get into, but that means that he wanted to agree on certain facts and then continue fighting others. So you could say, for example, that there was the defamation. He might want to continue arguing that, but for all the other cases, like he wants it settled now. And, there's things around that, but I think the real winners here, frankly, in all of this, is whoever was being paid as the lawyers, because H3H3 spent hundreds of thousands of pounds. Now, fortunately, Philip DeFranco got involved right at the beginning of this when H3H3 made their first video, because they were very upfront and very frank, saying, look, this is going to cost us a lot of money if this really goes to court. And I don't know if we can afford this. Like, they have a very successful channel, but like I said, court proceedings can cost hundreds, especially if you want to win them,
as well.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds. And as a defendant, you have to defend yourself. There's no way out of that. You can't just go, well, I'll ignore this one. No, you have, and if you don't defend yourself, you just lose instantly. It's just there's no way to defend yourself, so you lose. You're out of it. So they had to spend a lot of money on this. I think they'd already spent quite a bit of their own money kind of working out where they stood on this. And then Philip DeFranco came in, created I think it was a GoFundMe or a fundraising platform was used, and the audience combined, I think, raised maybe 150. George, I don't know if you can find it out quick enough.
Quick look now.
Yeah, so I don't know whether it was a few $100,000. I think that people kind of raised. George is loading up the page as we speak. There we go.
170,000.
So they had a goal of $100,000. They raised $170,000 across 7,000 people in, is that 15 months? That says at the top there. I guess that's so that's how long this has been going on for. It's been 15 months, so over a year of this court case.
Which is just wrong.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's that drawn out and it's cost that much money. And like I was saying, so the two winners out of this really are the lawyers who have made all this money. But they've done a good job. They've won the case for a reason. It's because they had a good lawyer who could see sense in what they were doing and see through all of the stupid jokes, and understand kind of the law and interpret it in the correct way. But then you also have any copyright suits moving forward. So the next time someone gets a DMCA and the next time someone does like a reaction style video, as long as they're kind of in the same vein as a H3H3, then what you get to do is reference this case. So it'll be Matt Hoss versus H3H3, and you get to use that as reference in a lawsuit, and it gives you a you won't necessarily be fine, because if you're making a Ethan Bradbury style video, you're still going to get done in. Or you're making who's another like reaction style, like, you know, if you start making reply girl style videos, which is a subject for another day, you're still going to get done, because you're using 90% of their video and 10% of your own creativity.
You have to have your own unique content, and the video still has to be.
But this is a groundbreaking
it is.
kind of, and I think that's one of the reasons why H3H3 and Ethan and Neela are so happy about it, is obviously that it's a weight off their shoulders, but what they understand is it means they can continue to make the kind of content that
because their content almost solely relies in some aspects on
the reaction
parodying
genre, but with their comedy skits and kind of formatting spliced in between.
I'm just really happy for them. I think it might be quite a pivotal point in terms of YouTube as well, because a lot of YouTube is reactions. That is just how YouTube works, like, especially with the diss tracks.
It's back and forth, isn't it? It's back and forth. It's a conversation.
As we were talking about last week, that you can see when someone makes a diss track, there are, and I'm not joking, there are literally thousands of reactions to that diss track, and that, as part of the diss track culture, is what they want, right? But some people don't want to be reacted to, and then that causes a lot of controversy. So I think, especially for reaction videos, this is a massive deal. And
for sure. But do you think this will affect the ways in which YouTube kind of operates their fair use copyright systems? Because currently, as a bit of a background, YouTube has a system in place to prevent stuff like this from happening. Unfortunately, it's not very good at preventing it. Instead, it's actually quite good at putting people in really bad situations. So it's called Content ID, and what Content ID does is automatically scans videos. If, let's say, your channel is set up with Content ID, and our podcasts have been going out for, let's say, 6 months now, right? Mm-hmm. It will know our podcast, it will know the content in them, and it will know kind of what to expect from that. If someone then steals our podcast and places it on their YouTube channel, it will instantly recognize that, and I believe the system will then offer you the ability to monetize it, to remove it, or to take further action, be it a DMCA or something.
Which in itself is an absolutely crazy and clever system. Yeah,
it's super clever. It's all automated. There's no people behind it. The issue is when you get to the next stages. So let's say the first issue is potentially the Matt Hoss video was automatically claimed. So Matt Hoss didn't claim it. It was a automated system that said, hey, I've heard a lot of Matt Hoss in this video. Maybe it's his. Like, let's claim this and see what happens. The second issue to that, though, is if it's a manual claim. So you can still manually claim things. Like, I can go and claim a PewDiePie music video tomorrow if I wanted, or a normal video tomorrow if I wanted to. Fortunately, now YouTube has systems in place where all of the money created from that video doesn't then go to me because I've claimed it straight away. It goes into an escrow account, and that's kind of like a third-party account where the money's kept safe, and whoever is then deemed the winner then gains all of that income. So PewDiePie isn't losing out as much anymore. But back when this H3H3 thing happened, I don't believe that was the case. I don't believe that system was in place yet. So it's super interesting, and the way that the fair use system works at the moment, if you get to that second claim and you have to counterclaim, so you have to counterclaim the claim that's been made. People can just go straight
to that, isn't it?
I know.
You have to counterclaim the claim that's been made.
If you go into a second counterclaim, so if I go to you and say, hey, you've stolen my video, then you come back to me and say, no, I haven't, and I go to you and say, yes, I have, the burden is now on the defendant on that second time to prove that they're right rather than to prove that the other person's wrong. And what that means is that people end up either cancelling them because they don't have the time and they just lose the revenue on that video, or for people where it is their full-time profession and not a hobby, if it's their full-time job and they need that revenue, they have to then argue that. And the only way you can continue to argue that is by bringing in lawyers and having a full-on lawsuit, because you need to prove one way or another. And if you don't have that expertise to prove to YouTube, then it has to go to a third party, and you kind of negotiate from there.
I think there needs to be a quite drastic change to the way YouTube is currently working soon as well. I think it needs to happen in the next sort of like 6 months.
Yeah, and I think maybe this is a good case for them to
realise,
to kind
especially
of utilise
as well with the whole adpocalypse stuff, which is in the same vein as well. Isn't
I mean, the crazy thing about the adpocalypse, our last podcast that we did about diss tracks had reduced advertisements on it. Now, we're not making any money from those videos right now because they don't have enough views anyway, but that's not the point.
It's the principle.
That,
the principle.
There we go.
Yeah.
So the principle that our videos, for some reason in any way, was kind of controversial controversial or anything. We were discussing a topic that's kind of hugely prevalent on YouTube over the last few weeks. It was topical, but I don't think it was a topic that was, politically minded. There was no real swearing in there or aggressive language.
I did swear a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my bad.
That's bullshit, though.
Oh, that's it. Ads are gone for this one.
Ads are gone. It's all over.
No, but I was just thinking, I listen to a lot of podcasts, I listen to a lot of content creators, I listen to a lot of YouTubers, and a lot of people seem to be saying the same vein of things, which is, if YouTube doesn't change the way it works soon, a lot of creators are going to have to jump ship, because for the past sort of 5 years, up until like maybe 6 months to 8 months ago, YouTube was and was the best as well, like platform for content creators to get paid, be able to do it full time. It was really fair. The pay was good, obviously, if you had a big audience.
Yeah, it was the best playing platform
I would say
available.
it was almost perfect, right? The way it was working, like there's
always niggles, but yeah, I think nobody was complaining about the fact that we're being paid for the level of viewership, stuff like that. You can get paid higher CPMs in other places, but then there's no audience there to gain from that. You can have a $25 CPM, but if there's only 1,000 people there, and you've got 1 million on YouTube, you're still not making as much money.
But then obviously because of this whole debacle that's gone on, and the content ID system, which we mentioned, has become really quite aggressive in taking things down and claiming things and reducing
they're being
the ads.
very safe.
Yeah, I just think that YouTube needs to change within the next 6 months, or else another, like say another. It's very difficult, right? Because YouTube has such a big market share of video.
Well, Vessel tried and failed, didn't they? They're now defunct.
Really?
Yeah, Vessel was a video sharing platform where you could pay for a minimal subscription model. I think it was maybe $3 a month or something, and you got video content prior to it going out on YouTube. So Linus Tech Tips,
which was great for the creators, right? Like,
huge.
What a good deal that was.
Yeah, and I think people like Linus Tech Tips actually talking about them, using Vessel. They've been kind of big advocates of diversifying revenue. They talk about the fact that they have maybe 8 or 10 revenue streams, and YouTube is maybe only like a third of that or something. It's really not very much at all. It doesn't account. It's not the majority of their revenue. They have affiliate links. They have other platforms that they post,
which is the right way to do it. You don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. And I'm pretty sure we said something along the same lines the last podcast actually. But no, I just think that YouTube needs to adjust the way it's working and the way it captures the stuff and like captures the content.
I think it needs to be fairer to the people that are on the defendants, the receiving end of these claims, because the burden always lies on you. I think, in my opinion, if you think that if you're making a manual claim, obviously automatic claims, that's different. That's an algorithm, like you said, that needs to be tweaked, needs to be made better. But if you're doing a manual claim, then you need to prove that you have the copyright to that claim.
Yeah, there needs to be like some set boundaries that say, how much of this
there should be barriers, because like I said, right now I could go copyright claim anybody's videos, and if that person comes back and goes, oh no, this is my video, here's proof, and YouTube goes, oh, fair enough, no, he is right, I don't get anything like against my account. I can just make
it should be like a 3-strike rule perhaps, something like that.
There is a 3-strike rule for monetization on the other end. If someone comes to you and you get 3 copyright strikes, then you lose monetization abilities, but there's nothing the other way around. As a channel, kind of applying for these strikes onto the channels because of the copyright. Saying that you own it. There is no strike kind of requirement or methodology there. It's just like you can just do as many as you like, and if you get them wrong, then oh well.
Keep striking.
Just move on to the next video, and it's so wrong, and I think that's why people feel aggrieved by it.
There always needs to be a sort of system that stops people constantly having to go like. For example, in some games I know you can only report a player once every certain number of hours, right? Because otherwise people just report everyone when they die because they feel like, oh, blah, 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 they're angry or whatever, and it gets abused.
It's heat of the moment.
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of system. I don't think a timing system would work for YouTube because bots and everything can get all around all of that. YouTube has always been good at changing the game, right, and doing stuff that other websites, especially Google, because obviously it is Google, isn't it? They've always been able to do things that other companies and websites and stuff can't do themselves, and I feel like they've surely got to be able to sort this out, right? Like they're such a big company, and this is as the thing is, maybe YouTube doesn't make them that much money, so they don't.
Yeah, well, YouTube currently makes a loss, but that's because they reinvest all of their money. They're currently reinvesting it all into original content, aren't they? They're pumping billions into YouTube Red. And the website obviously costs a lot to run as well, doesn't it? I mean, you've got to host all the videos. And
there's some crazy statistics about how many YouTube videos are uploaded in a year.
It's nuts. It's crazy. It's billions of views a day. It's billions of minutes watched an hour.
So 2017 statistics for YouTube: 300 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute.
Yeah, that's 300 hours a minute. 60 times. I mean, I'm not even trying to do the maths. I can't even do 300 times 60 in my head.
5 billion videos are watched every single day, right? That is a market share that's never going to disappear. So they need to fix something before that starts to dwindle, or before people start to really sort of
because people will look for alternatives.
Yeah,
and that's what people did with Vessel. It offered them an alternative.
Yeah, mate, just not good enough. Not good enough.
No, and that's why it failed. It frankly wasn't a good enough business model. And that's the great thing about YouTube. It's free to upload. And you make the money when you make them money.
Yeah.
Like, you're only ever making money from YouTube when you're making them money. You're taking a percentage of their revenue.
Yeah.
And that's, a kind of a good medium. But talking about YouTube and talking about kind of content and content creation and copyright and stuff like that, I did an interview the other day.
Oh yeah, did you know?
Yeah, I did one of our first. It's our first reborn interviews.
Oh, I wish I could do like crowd effects noises though.
Wow. So, you guys will be seeing this podcast a week before the first interview. But I'll happily tell you here it is, because there's not enough of you here to ruin the surprise.
If you even made it 40 minutes into the podcast,
if you made it 40 minutes in,
you deserve to know anyway.
You deserve to know. So I interviewed Doug DeMuro.
Ooh!
Wow!
Yeah. When we get a sound effects board, we'll be able to put that stuff in.
Yes. Elgato, sort us out. I need a sound effects board ASAP.
Elgato.
Yeah. Sponsored. This episode is brought to you by Elgato.
It's not.
No, not yet. One day. Dream big, boys. Dream big. I interviewed Doug DeMuro. Now, if you don't know who Doug DeMuro is, he's an American automotive YouTuber, has about 830,000 subscribers currently, and he makes videos about quirks and fun facts about cars. He makes videos that are around 10 to 20 minutes nowadays, more like 20 minutes nowadays. He takes any kind of car, kind of unique cars, supercars, fun cars, exotic cars, rare cars, you name it, he's done it. And his videos these days are, kind of discussing the value proposition of a car. So why is this car worth £300,000? Or a really unique car, he's talking about like, why is this car so unique? Why is this car so special? And the videos go around kind of the quirks of the car. He has a blog on autotrader.com/oversteer. I think Doug will like me for shouting that one out. So he works with Autotrader. He came, and I won't spoil too much of the interview, but his origins is as a professional journalist, and he came onto YouTube not really knowing the space at all, and that was one of the really interesting things about the interview. But he's just uploaded the latest video, and this is kind of a great encapsulation of what he does. The title is simply, "The Bentley Continental Super Sports is a $310,000 supercar." Oh, Bentley Hellcat. That's actually what it says. I had to wait for the little line. So he makes videos where you capture people's interest. George is currently skipping through a video which is, here's why the Tesla Model X is an awful car. Yeah. And he discusses why he doesn't like the Tesla Model X.
Yeah, I've watched a few of his videos, and I think there's nothing complicated about them.
Yeah, super simple.
And I don't think that's an insult to say that.
No,
I mean that in a positive way. There's no sort of fuss. There's no sort of trying to make things more difficult than they need to be. Yeah. He says it as it is.
He openly admits that in the interview, which is fantastic to hear. You know, like he's not one of these people that thinks that he needs a crew of 20 to make a simple YouTube video. He's like, I've always kept it simple. I didn't really know what I was doing at the beginning, and now that I do, I know to keep it simple. I don't need more equipment. I don't need more things. I'm making a few videos a week. He travels America and gets to now kind of drive other people's cars. So he has some things based around that he talks about in terms of keeping himself safe and making sure that he's doing the right thing. Yeah, you can't have things fail. Yeah. But it's super intriguing, and
it's
all
really
of his
great.
videos currently, all of them, I'd say most of them here are reaching over 1 million views, and he has videos about really silly cars as well. So you have a Ferrari F40.
Also, by the way, I do think that Tesla one was sarcastic.
I don't know. He is an opinionated car journalist, so every now and again he does have a real opinion.
The top comment is so for the why Tesla Model X is an awful car. I ought to say that I downvoted this video after the first seconds, right after saying the car sucks because it doesn't even do noise. It took me to realise It took me a while to realise you were being sarcastic. So, I mean, I haven't actually watched that video, so I can't tell, but I just saw that comment and thought I'll just quickly whip that one back out.
Yeah.
But I really I like the simplistic style. I think it works
He's
really
found
well.
his niche on YouTube.
Yeah. Simple. In my opinion, simple is always better. You don't need to complicate stuff.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm doing quite a lot of stuff in the radio industry where a lot of sound effects are made to complicate, and that is just the nature of that industry. But a lot of things can be done really cleanly, really professionally, if you just do it as basic. And that's why I think podcasts are so popular nowadays, because it is just talking.
Yeah.
And there's no
it
whooshes and bangs and fizz.
It sounds complicated to do, and yes, there's a slight investment into it. Like me and George have to have microphones and a place to do it, and a mixer and a computer. But like our setup we've got right now is relatively simple. Like
anyone could
1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of components you really need. 2 microphones, a mixer, and a laptop.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. Like we don't need the headphones. We don't need all of this extra stuff.
You can do it without.
You can just do it with that. Like that's all you need. You just need 2 microphones. If you're doing 2 people, obviously you scale that up as
and we by no means bought like really expensive microphones.
Oh no, of course
we
not.
bought
No.
like entry level condenser microphones.
We bought like the value proposition ones where they're good quality, yet a good value too. We didn't buy the cheapest ones on the market. And Doug's done the same thing. You know, again in the interview we discuss about his equipment levels and what he started with and what he now has available. And it's super interesting because he kind of has the same style of equipment. And I won't go again too much further because I don't want to kind of disclose the whole interview because the whole point of watching it. But, you know, he has the same style of equipment because he started making a certain style of video. He knows how to make that style of video. It's easily replicable for his audience. And that's what they enjoy from him. You know, if you go to watch a Doug DeMuro video, you know exactly what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You're going to get interesting quirks and facts about a car and an article to supplement that on autotrader.com/oversteer. And the same kind of camera angles where he goes around the interior and exterior and discusses these kind of quirks. And it's really cool to see him have such success. I think as well, again, discussing in the interview that he's reached a wider audience than maybe the traditional car audience as well. He has people emailing him and kind of writing in and saying, look, I don't even like cars, yet your videos are super interesting to me.
Yeah, and I think that's when you know you're doing it right. Because when you're attracting an audience that isn't even the target audience is when you know that your videos are just so entertaining that people don't really care what is being
you're entertaining
shown.
anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody rather than anybody.
And that interview is coming out a week after this podcast, which would be the 28th week after that. It's in September, right?
4th of September.
4th of September.
Currently planned in for the 4th of September.
Okay, brilliant.
Things may change.
Things probably won't change. But they could.
Find out next week.
Oi, yeah.
Hey, there we go.
Cliffhanger.
There we go. Click on the annotation that I'm now going to have to embed in at 46 and a bit minutes.
Yeah.
God, that was a dreadful decision. So yeah, super cool to have Doug on.
Yeah, I'm a bit sad actually. I didn't get the opportunity to talk to him. So Doug, if you're listening to this, I'd love the opportunity.
I think we need to get him on a podcast at some point.
For sure.
I think a podcast is great to talk about kind of wider topics and get a gaggle or group of people in.
A gaggle of people.
Gaggle, yeah, a gaggle. It's like ducks, isn't it? Like you get a gaggle of ducks.
I don't know if that's a thing. But yeah, no, it's really super exciting, and also it's really like the rebirth of
the interviews of the thing that the channel became known for.
Yeah.
So hoping that's a good one. It's currently in the edit bay right now. There's lots on the floor, but there's still lots in the edit as well. So it's going to be super exciting to get that out there. Yeah. Full rebrand as well, much like with the podcast. So it's going to be exciting stuff.
Once again, like now that the secret's out, and you know that we've got pretty high profile YouTuber, right? He's not like exactly a small.
He's not a small
fish.
guy. No.
A small fish. Let us know in the comments who. He's
a small fish and a big guy.
Let us know in the comments.
That confused you more than the comment you made.
I just didn't think that deserved a laugh. Just put in the comments who you want us to interview, okay?
Luckily, George, you get to edit this out, so you can edit out all of that bit.
Oh, I quite like that bit. I want it to stay.
But you do get to edit it, so I guess you get to make that decision.
And I think on that note, once we've discussed a bit of the fair use stuff, and
I
obviously
think that was the main topic for today.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to get into that without literally boring every single person listening.
I mean, if you want to listen to a much longer, much more detailed video by a professional who isn't us and knows what they're talking about and does this day to day, go watch Leonard French's video. He literally has the electronically filed documents that have been filed that are publicly available. I guess if you're into that profession, on his channel, he goes through the entire document. It's an hour and 17 minutes. And if you want to know every single detail of that lawsuit, then that's where you do it. He'll explain you all of the terminology, the wording, and how important this really is. I think obviously the H3H3 video is very much a distilled version of that. They are celebrating not only their success in this law case, lawsuit, but also kind of the overriding factors about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Leonard French's video is fantastic. It's already got 95,000 views. There's no surprise. He's become very much known for this, and I continue to watch his videos and subscribe to his channel to find out more about any kind of lawsuits or claims that are going on in the YouTube world.
Yeah.
So yeah, but from us, I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, thanks for listening again, guys. A bit of a short one, but also not really, but still, a little bit quicker than
short, but all about one topic.
Yeah,
I quite like that with the podcast.
Apart from the nice segue that we had at the start, but you know what? It's nice to diversify. You can't always be talking about. There's no way we could have talked about fair use
we could have talked about diss tracks again, because there's been more. Literally the day after we uploaded that, and the day we made it, there was many more diss tracks.
The thing about diss tracks is it's such a consistently fast-moving thing that you will never be able to keep up with it. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, KSI's one wasn't very good though, was it?
Oh, nah. And also, two birds, one stone. More like two crap songs, one dead career. High five on that one. Boy.
And if you want to talk about dead careers, make sure you subscribe to us on Patreon. This episode of the Dialed In podcast. Look, George, we're not going anywhere with this, are we? So, okay.
I'm not going to quit my day job. Anyway, go on, Pat.
No, you don't have a day job. This episode of the Dialed In podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/howitbecame. Patreon is an amazing platform which allows you, the audience, to directly help and support us, the creators, to continue to develop and build content you love. To find out more about the perks we have available when you become a Patreon, please visit patreon.com/howitbecame. That's patreon.com/howitbecame.